So I found a rare item inside of a Japanese Neo Geo Aes game. Let's talk about it.
Are you anticipating with excitement? It's getting closer, guys, and closer. The blue one on the side. One more. There you go. And pull it forward. You can do it. Don't get your arm stuck, son. Almost there. There you go.
Thank you. I'm sorry.
Oh, how does it
Apologies
feel?
for this nut.
What it is, welcome back to the channel. It's your guy, Retro Neo Ness here. A couple of weeks ago, myself and Mr. Rightway went to Houston.
Ready Player One with Mr. Rightway.
Hey,
He's in
I'm
here.
gonna find some Neo Geo games, get my hair out the way.
Let's go see what we got.
In search of Neo Geo games. Now, I didn't get a lot of footage here, but I did pick up one game, and you've already seen it on a previous video, King of Fighters 99 Japanese, and it had a phone card inside of the game, which is extremely hard to find. A lot of these Japanese games with the phone card still inside, and I'll pop some footage right here. As you can see, super awesome, great way to do that. So who would have thought, outside of a manual, the cartridge, the box and insert, that there would have been another item inside of an AES game? There's a couple of things that's happened over the past. I mean, Rage of Dragons, for instance, it came with a poster, and it also came with a t-shirt if you were lucky enough to be a part of the pre-order bonus back in the day. There's some other games out there that have some various items that come with it. When we think about it, telephone cards, and I'm probably aging myself here, let's go through it. What is a telephone card? What is its use? Why do you need this when you have a cell phone? Well, we're going way back. Well, not way back, but we're going back to the 90s. In the 90s, telephone cards were really popular, mainly in Japan. I mean, we did have a few games that came with telephone cards in the States, but in Japan, it was huge. Toys, video games, anime, you name it, they had telephone cards involved, and they were synonymous with many different brands, to the point to where they actually became collectible items. Like, you could have bundles of telephone cards with your favorite anime characters, video game characters, and people were collecting these things. But on the opposite side of that, you actually have people utilizing telephone cards for use. Really, all it is back in the day, we didn't have access to cell phones readily unless you were carrying around one of those heavy briefcases with the big tank cell phone, or if you were balling back in those days and you were actually able to afford having a telephone in your car, which we wouldn't recommend considering that the cost of making a call was probably $20 a minute. That's just me exaggerating. But for traditional landlines, if you were making a domestic or international call, you could use a telephone card on the go. If you didn't have pocket change on you, but you prepaid the card and you put a little bit of money on that, you could make a domestic call or an international call based off of that telephone card. And in Japan, in some cases, depending on whatever machine that you were utilizing, if you did use it, the machine would punch that card until it was out of use. So once it reached this level, and it would get punched, and then you could discard it as needed and then go and find another card. I mean, I'm sure over time there were reusable telephone cards, but we're just talking about back in the day here, people. Now, in terms of how many games came with telephone cards, I'm actually still researching that. I do know, for instance, if we're talking about Japanese-based Neo Geo games, well, of course, we know King of Fighters 99 had it. I think a few of the other King of Fighters games did too. I have seen a copy of SNK vs. Capcom Chaos with a telephone card. I would love to find one of those one day. But as it sits, I don't know. As time goes on, I'll find some more information on that, and I'll make sure to relay that to you guys. In the United States, we did have a few games that did get a release with telephone cards. Now, it wasn't as popular here in the United States as it was overseas, but I'm sure a select few utilized telephone cards in the same fashion. In terms of what consoles had it, PlayStation 1 was, I won't say fairly big on utilizing telephone cards, but games like Thousand Arms, Marvel Superheroes also had a telephone card, and I think these were just mainly variants. Those releases were dwindled down, and of course telephone cards became, obsolete. So once that happened, wasn't really a need for that. But still the same, an awesome find, and I'm not going to be the one that's talking about, oh, it's super complete now, and I'm a completionist and all that. I'm not going to go through all that. If you have the game, you have the game. At the end of the day, it's about us playing the game, not collecting every single insert and piece, map, manual, and all that crap. If you're one of those individuals, more power to you. I commend you on your journey to make sure that every single game that you have is complete in box to the 100% power. But for me, I'm just really in it for the games. I do want the games complete, but I don't want them super duper complete unless it's really, really that game that I have to have it in. So just food for thought here.
369. 369? Yeah. Cool. So 392 for all of this?
Yeah, in there.
Okay.
You can't take me anywhere. He got the game. Oh.
An interesting text from one of the retro stores that I frequent pretty often here in the DFW area, and they reached out and said, hey, do you have a power supply for Neo Geo Aes? Well, of course I do. But they recently got in a Neo Geo console and they didn't have a power supply. And of course, them knowing that I'm a huge proponent for Neo Geo, they were like, hey, do you have time to bring in your power supply and we can test this console? We're having some issues where we're seeing some garbled visuals and audio on the console. I said, sure, no problem. Well, when we got there, a couple of things. Let's go check out and see what happens.
So I've got my Neo Geo bag right here. I've got the power adapter. I've got my retro team just in case, a SCART cable, and I got a couple of games. So we're about to go in here to CGX and see what's going on with this console. We'll check you later.
Whew. Soundboard?
I don't know. Wasn't doing that.
Oh man.
It's getting worse. I can't control it.
Could also be the ROM.
Well, that game was like I've always seen it corrupted. Geo spins.
Yeah, the spin. Oh, I see it. Yeah, you can see it right there on the mission.
Oh, there you really see it when I die.
Oh. We had the 161 cart. We tested that. It was off and on. The metal slug was working, but there's definitely something going on with one of the cards. I'm not super technical on fixing Neo Geo consoles yet. One day I will be, but right now we know that the power adapter or the power supply was fine. In terms of all the external connections into the TV were fine. The major issue was that when we plugged in and put in a cartridge, that's where we're seeing some issues. So we think it's either a memory, like one of the memory boards, or something with one of the cards on the Neo Geo console. So it needs to get resoldered and probably needs a new processing chip of some kind. I don't know. We'll find out. So I'm sure many of you are wondering, Ness, when's the new series coming out? I need a little bit more time to make sure things are lined up and ready to go, but I wanted to let you know as an update for the channel. Moving forward, I am going to be doing a new series on the channel every single Friday. I'm going to make sure that I drop a video every single Friday, but I want to make sure that I keep you up to date. So for this month, starting in November, we are going to have a new series that's going to drop every single Friday for the next, I don't know, 19 weeks, I think. It's just going to be based off of how many Neo Geo games that I have in my collection. So the duplicates, not so much. But everything that I have that we haven't showcased on the channel, I'm going to be doing a 10 to 12 minute comprehensive video that discuss the history about the game. If I have dev history, things of that nature, I'm definitely going to let you guys know, and gals. And then plus, we're going to do some gameplay footage, my rating, and I'm going to rate this from 1 to 5, just my personal rating. And then any additional information around variants, counterfeits, if it's a particular game that's on the more uncommon or rare side, we'll talk about that too. Also, a new Games and Barbecue episode is coming. I'm going to do this in line for the recent holiday for Thanksgiving, but also this is going to run into Christmas time too. So the video that I'm going to drop for Games and Barbecue, the food that I'll be smoking, you can definitely do it for the holiday season if you're into that. It's going to be great. And I look forward to doing that video for you all too. Got some more exciting things coming into the new year just for this channel and just for you guys. I want to start posting more frequently. It's kind of hard when you have a day job, but I don't want you to think I've forgotten about you, because you all are family, and I definitely want to make sure that you get some good quality content. And as always, collect and play the way that you want to collect and play your games, and I'll check you next time. Peace.